Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to the Ray Esports Weekend Warriors Formula 4 Series rolls into round 5. Can you believe it? 5 weeks deep into this new championship, and also our first trip across to the Asian continent and a track that used to host back in the day Formula 1 races. A very different level of speed and level of grip and downforce available with these Formula 4 cars. Of course, Okayama International Circuit. It's become a real main staple of the iRacing lower safety classes, and well, it's really grown on a lot of people for a circuit that you don't tend to see race so much in modern day racing, and well, it's a real shame because it always invokes great action in the sim world. I'm Tim Cox. We've got Samuli Kulo in the virtual production trailer. We've got qualifying just ongoing at the moment. Healthy grid, 28 cars all out vying to come up to the top of the timing sheets at the moment. The provisional pole sitter, it's Yorgmani. Been incredibly strong so far this season, but doesn't have a victory to his name. And you see how tight it is at the top. Jason Green, another driver yet to have a win to his name. Only 4 thousandths of a second separating those two. 4 thousandths of a second. Absolute slim margins here at Okayama. I mean, you can't even comprehend just how much of a difference that is around the circuit. Just a microsecond earlier on the front or later on the race, that's all that's separating those two. And different classes as well. So you see on the timing tower right now, different colours, yellow, red and green. With yellow being for the Masters drivers, the older generation, showing everyone else how it's done. Well, that's how it's playing out right now with Marnie. Got red for the Spec 1 drivers and green for the Spec 2 drivers. There's Forenza Arabian there and the cat amongst the pigeons. That's a cracking lap for him to go a tenth quicker than Marnie in green. And those top 3 are starting to really leave the rest of the field in qualifying a bit adrift, although, as we know, qualifying's one thing. Race pace, something very different altogether. And well, we stick around as well, and looking ahead to next week already. I know we're only just getting qualifying underway right now, but Tsukuba next week, that's going to be one to watch out for. And of course, talking of ones to watch out for, about an hour after this broadcast, it's the Spec Ford Racers Weekend Warrior Series. Make sure you tune in for that one. I mean, 28 cars, that's a big grid anyway that we've got in this series. But they have even bigger, 50 plus. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But getting it deep into qualifying now. We've got just under 6 minutes left on the clock. Petakainen being a top Spec 2 driver. He's currently in 8th as the Finnish driver. And, well, that's Richard Coffey not having the best of times there. Down at turn 2, which is Williams. He will hope for, especially when you're trying to get your best possible time in the dying depths of qualifying. I'll tell you, Yugman, on a bit of an improving lap. He's gone fastest of anyone in sectors 1 and 2. Could be in for a good lap here, the Swiss driver. Not many corners left, just 2. He's just surrounding Mike Knight now. And then into the aptly named last corner. And let's see together, what can he manage to pull off across the line? Is it going to be an improvement in time? Is he going to cut the timing beam any moment now? 1:36.7 is previous best. Let's wait and see. There you go. 1:36.28 to go 3/10 quicker than Ferenz Arabian. Where has that come from, Jorgmani? A great lap from him. No messing around whatsoever. Well, that's a big old margin. And look, I mean, Thomas Renders, who has won previously in this series, Dutch driver currently sitting down in 6th and a second off the pace. Wait, won, in fact, last time out at Snetterton. I mean, that was an enthralling Easter Sunday special, if there ever was one. Some great battles around there. Tougher to overtaking, of course, Snetterton, but these drivers, they didn't get the memo. Great wheel-to-wheel action, and, well, with an even bigger grid, and certainly around that midfield, incredibly tight times. I mean, a second gets you from 1st to 6th, but then an additional second from Renders drops you all the way down to Montgomery in 23rd. Really, really close, really tight in that midfield. Hundredths and thousandths of a second separating some of our drivers. Tagasias just gets ahead of Warback there, up into 15th. Still remains on the same row, though, does the American, but will, in fact, start 1 position higher. So we see right now, there's Jeff Jacobson. He's on an improving lap. Look, faster in sectors 1, 2, 3. Malloy goes up to 6th. Great lap from him, and Jacobson, he improves up to 10th. You can tell the track's getting faster and faster as we get into the depths of qualifying. Now, let's have a look at the clock. Drivers are going to have 2, maybe 3 more laps available for them, and, well, just getting the weather up there. And it's a hot track, 101 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, for those of you who are more of the metric system, that is around about 38 degrees Celsius. So that is a really hot track temperature in qualifying the drivers have to experience. And that just makes these cars all the more skatey, and, well, they're great fun to drive, and can be a little bit, skatey right on the edge at the rear end. So with those hot track temperatures, as increased up to 102 there, it's going to make it all the more challenging for them, and a little bit windy as well at 10 miles an hour. So it's going to be a bit of a gust there for them. Interesting to see how they get on. Of course, just pro skiing midday in qualifying local time here from Okayama in Japan. Who else have we got on improving laps? George Camillo, he's on, no apologies, just started his lap. That was from his previous lap. Just looking at the sector times right now for you. Mobile was on a good lap, and he improves it to 16th. That was a 1:37.7 for him, as we're just seeing Mayer come across the line. Wow, is that an improvement? Yes, it is. Displaces Ball. He's up into 4th. Likewise, Renders just going faster than Malloy. He's up into 6th. That moves him up a row on the grid. Likewise, Meyer and Ball just exchanging places for there. So, same row for them. They'll start from the... no, so apologies. There's Chris Murakami moves up in 6th there. And he moves up a plus. So, he will start on the 2nd row of the grid there. I tell you what, just showing what quality that lap was from Jorgmani. It was incredibly tight between himself and Jason Green, the mid part of qualifying, only 0.003 seconds separating them, but the gap are now out to 4/10 between them. And, well, nobody able to match the Swiss driver, absolutely hooking it up to perfection around Okayama. So what, we've got some 1:20 left, so about 1 more lap for our drivers, and those are starting. We've just got the timing ping. They'll get another one in as well. Who else is on improving laps right now? Let's take a little bit of a look. No one really going too much faster, and That's a track almost maxed out. Trenton Kramer being one of those. George Camillo going faster in sectors 1 and 2. Let's see what the Brazilian managed to do. He's currently sitting down in 23rd, 6th in class in qualifying. And, well, that's good enough to move him up a place. And I've heard Jeff Cantor just dropping a couple there. As also his fellow countryman, Mantovani, also improving too. Wobolt's on an outlap, so he won't get to get another fast lap in. Simon Ball, he's done destiny qualifying. Likewise, Pinarino, he's done. So is Jim Brewster. You see the real disparity in class in pace in the Masters right now. Marnie, who is 8 tenths quicker than Murakami, who's second in class. Brewster is then 6 tenths slower than Murakami, 1.4 seconds off Marnie's pace. So a big disparity there right now. As we see Antonio Rice, he's on a quick one, isn't he? Faster in sectors 1, 2, and 3. Can he make it? The quadruple and move himself up from 15th, and well, he does. Look at that. Climbs up 6 places into 9th. A great lap from the Masters driver to claim that's 3rd place in Masters qualifying. Of course, the drivers all start on the grid together. So he'll start all the way back on the 5th row of the grid with Matthew Malloy, the American. I think we're pretty much done studying. Checker flag is out right now. It's just looking. Richard Coffey still on a flying lap. Thomas Renders is 2. Gary Wobolt, although no, he came out late in qualifying, so he's on his outlap, so he will not get another time in. Tom Laurie is another driver who will be able to potentially improve, although hasn't had the best first and second sector. Gone personal best in sector 3. As we see Renders, he needs a really strong final sector. It's not going quicker in sectors 1 and 3. Improvement. That green showing in sector 2. Let's see together. What does Renders manage? The Dutchman cuts the timing beam and goes marginally quicker, but still remains in 7th place. And with a lot of our drivers done and dusting, no one on a dramatically improving lap, although Green is the only one who can potentially disrupt Arabian from on that front row with Jorg Marnie. He goes fast in that final sector, however, does not improve by 0.03 of a second over his previous best, being a 1:36.7 dead. So Green will start from the second row with Simon Mayer. Great to see Simon Mayer in. I haven't seen him around too much, the German. Great to have him fully involved here in the Formula Ford Weekend Warrior Series here on Apex Racing TV. As that is just pretty much done and dusty, just waiting for a couple of drivers to come across the line, although their times won't count, and we'll head across into the race. Of course, 40 minutes of racing here from Okayama, as always is the format here in Weekend Warriors. In fact, it's a different challenge for our drivers. You do have to make a pit stop. Double the race length of what Formula Ford is normally. It provides a real challenge for the drivers. A different tricky conundrum, especially with a car that is brand new to the service. Came along, of course, in the season update at the start of the season only 5 weeks ago. And well, no historical data, knowledge. It's all about who's able to adapt on the fly and get this one hooked up here. So let's take you through your grid for this evening. Round 5 from Okayama. Jorg Marnie, he starts on pole with Ferenz Arabian, the Canadian, alongside him. Row 2 sees Jason Green line up alongside Simon Mayer. Simon Ball starting alongside Chris Murakami. Thomas Renders starts 7th with Jess Jacobson next to him in 8th. Antonio Rice and Matthew Malloy going to round out your top 10 here. Leandro Pinheiro starts 11th with Lassie Pentakainen, your top qualifier in Spec 2 on row 6. Eric Ronenberg. Bit of a disappointing qualifying from him. Runs strong in the sister series, being the Ford Spec racer. Maybe would be disappointing just to be 1.2 seconds off the pace in these Formula Ford cars. He's got Richard Coffey for company. Jim Brewster starts alongside fellow countryman Gary Wobolt. 2 All-American rows there in a row, with row 9 being Alan DeGracias and Roland Wallbank. And row 10, taking him to 20th place, sees 2 Masters drivers next to each other. It's Stevie Ray and Andrew Love. Montavani, he's got fellow Brazilian Camillo alongside him. Tom Laurie and Jeff Cantor line up alongside each other on row 12. Row 13 are looking for some, hopefully not, for Chris Montgomery and Adam Bradshaw. Franz Wreck. Hope to be certainly not Wreck by name, Wreck by nature. Running into turn 1. Always gets a bit tight around here at Okayama. He's got Trenton Kramer for company. And Kaji Hansen, Scandinavian driver, starts all by himself on the 29th, the final row of the grid. Of course, in this series, rolling start on the Porsche 911 safety car. And I can tell you, Thomas Renders and George Camillo have not made the grid. Now, Camillo, obviously, he was starting, what, in 22nd, wasn't he, behind Montevani? So maybe you could understand that one. Wants to avoid some of the turn 1 opening lap incidents. That's if we have any. I don't know about yourselves at home, but you know what my luck's like. I'll start from the pits, trying to avoid it all, and then there's never any incidents. Let's see if it works out for the Brazilian. But Thomas Renders, that's a bold call. Could work out for him. Might not at all. We'll find out together. Let's talk about the track and where are we going to see some fast throttle action. Well, it's going to be turn 1. It's going to be the hairpin down the back straight. As we're just getting away here. We get ready to go racing in round 5 of the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors as we are green and we are racing. And Marnie not hanging around at all. First to react, moving through. Antonio Rice, he's a good start. He's at 5 places off the start. Great start from the Portuguese driver, really going after Jorg Marnie here in these opening stages. And, well, it looks like Camillo and Renders are out as all. There's a big incident. Jacobson, he is around, and he got collected too. It was, De Gassias, oh no. All gone wrong for those. And Montevani's been caught up in an incident. In these opening stages, always a bit of a worry for our drivers. It's just running a bit wide there. That's Andrew Love, and everyone else knows the tail, but it's getting a bit spaced out at the back. As I can tell you, oh no, Renders has got going. He's already picked up 1 place, but starting from the pits, not what he would have hoped for. It's Trenton Kramer there, just on the inside, heading down the back straight towards the hairpin corner. Who's going to be bravest? Onto the brakes. Send it in a bit late. Kramer just elects there just to tuck back in place. It's safe in these early stages as they head through Revolver and Piper Corner. Meanwhile, up at the front, at the sharp end, a bit more calm. Playing the numbers game, these guys, however, need to really get their act together because you see that top 3 getting away, and then there's a second between Murakami. You just see at the front, you shot on the 901 machine there for Enter Arabian in the 2. Arabian, not what he hoped for. He's down 3 places off start. Didn't get a good start. Neither did Simon May. He dropped 2, and Simon Ball, who's in 8th. The Brit dropped 3 places. Well, there's definitely some fast starts from some of the drivers. Chris Montgomery and Bradshaw really capitalised. So did Trent Kramer, in fact, up 7 places each. So did Tom Laurie too. He's up 7. So 3 places in class, into 4th in class. So great start from him. At the end of lap 1, Marty leads from green. Antonio Rice, 2nd in class, 3rd overall right now. Murakami rounding out the podium positions as things stand at the moment in that Masters class, but it's getting cut adrift from our top 3 right now. And the train forming behind him of Arabian, Mayer, Malloy, Ball, Pinarino. And also, you can probably nearly include Rodenberg as Ball just making his way past Malloy. He runs it in a bit too deep there. It's going to lose some places here. However, it's going to pick up a bit of a slipstream heading down the back straight. What can Malloy achieve here? So we're going to come on to the race. Who's going to be the bravest just in the foreground there? Just seeing Arabian having a bit of a look at Murakami, and right round the outside goes Malloy. Can't get it done though. Has to tuck back in, but has got ahead of Pinarino. So we head through Revolver and into Piper, this tricky section of the track, and only really 1 line around there. Ooh, a bit of a twitch as well from the 28 there of Malloy. Tell how hard he's pushing in these early stages. 3 minutes out of the 40. There's Pentakainen still leading in class. Has claimed 1 place overall. He's up into 11th. So that was largely due to Thomas Renders not making the grid in these early stages. But interesting to see what the Finnish driver can achieve here. And it's just starting to get cut adrift a little bit. Just dropping just 1.1 seconds behind the 017 machine of Eric Ronenberg there. Definitely some definitive packs emerging in these early stages here. And still our top 3 are really getting away from them. And there's Jorg Marnie setting the pace initially, 1:37.63 of those times will drop down a bit here. I'll tell you, it's still pretty hot out there. No difference between qualifying and the race, with it being 41 degrees Celsius and that's about 104 Fahrenheit. As running in deep again goes that 28 of Matthew Malloy, trying to elect to just carry as much speed and as momentum through the corner. As in the foreground there, that is the 2 of Forensic Arabian getting the move done on Murakami, and following through is comes Simon Mayer steaming through, and also on the outside there. Just one of the drivers couldn't quite catch you there. He's running incredibly slowly. And Perino is one of the back markers. That's Montevano. He's got up and going again, but a bit of a mobile chicane right now, and trying to get out of everyone's way and let the field through, not disrupt any of the battles, but in doing so, costing himself time after time after time. You see Pinarino and Malloy. Malloy's really dropped off that group in front of him, electing for that wider line. It's just not working out for him. And now he's got the Brazilian in front of him, Pinarino. He's climbed 3 places so far. Overall landing in class, a great start for the Brazilian, exactly what he would have hoped for. There's also his happened to Camilla. He's had a bit of an incident off camera somewhere. Let's see if we can bring you that shortly, but let's see what happens down into turn 1. Onto the brakes we come. Can Malloy get them moved on Pinarino? He's going to carry all the speed and the momentum around the outside. If he can keep his nose in there into Williams, he will be ahead, but he can't and has to succumb to the advances of Matthew Malloy. Gets that 28 machine up into 8, but runs wide out of Williams, and that's going to leave him really vulnerable here on the run down to outward curve. That really swooping right-hander. And Malloy not really electing for that deeper line, but again switching mid-corner, and that's going to compromise him. And that's clearly where he's going wrong. And Aaron Ronenberg says, thank you very much. You just left a big gap there. I'm going to put my car there, and I'm going to take control of this battle. Climbs 2 places, up into 8th. He's at 5 overall to start, with Pinarino as well jockeying for position, and Malloy could go from lead this group to being 3rd in it. Just seeing the background there. That is Pentakainen trying to make a bit of a move, and oh, there's contact, and there's going to be a big one here. But no, they all collected together except for Pinarino. Comes off worse, and into the gravel he goes and tumbles through the order like a stone. And I think he's going to emerge out of all of that behind Franz Reck in 24th. Not what Pinarino would have hoped for. He was absolutely flying. And it all comes undone in an instant for the Brazilian. Gutting for him. I'll tell you what, last time around, Thomas Renders set the fastest lap of the race, and he's up to starting for the pits down in 25th. There he is, just behind, not hanging around whatsoever for Racing Team Den Cup. And well, he's got his work cut out though. I mean, despite that spin from Pinarino, he's still 2 point. Well, Pinarino's got past Rec already, so clearly driving with a bit between his teeth. Likewise as Renders, but he's still got 2 seconds to make it as Renders to make up on Rec. It's just seeing this battle right now. Ooh. Well, I thought there was another car. I thought it was a 4-car battle. There is Andrew Love. Something's happened to him. I don't know whether who was in front of him. Let's find out. I think it was Adam Bradshaw he was battling with. It's in the 90. Is that the 929? Yes, it is. And oh yeah, just got caught up into the back of Bradshaw. Wow, that could have gone far more worse and inflicted far more pain and damage to Love, although he's saying about pain. He's dropped down to 25th because of it, and some, 6 places as further up through the field. Love now trying to come back, but Malloy, I mean, this is an epic battle, all swapping and trading places. Malloy struggling clearly with the conditions here in Japan. Now Coffee up onto the back of Malloy, Pentakainen in the 2, and in fact that's a change for the lead in Spec 2. There's now Coffee ahead of Pentakainen to take control of that class. We're going to gap back to Gary Wolbol, who's coming line in last of the podium positions, but he's on the tail end of this train that we're currently watching right now. Ronenberg is falling further and further behind due to that battling. So 4.5 seconds off Simon Mayer, who is ahead of him in 7th place right now. And that gap is just going to exacerbate even further and further. The more that people keep prodding and probing and trying to make moves behind him, although there's going to be contact. Yes, there is, but they all get away with it. They just somehow wheel to side pod, and it didn't all tangle together. And that is Matthew Malloy dropping further back. Coffee and Pentakainen ahead. In fact, contact with Coffee. He was trying to put a car between himself and Pentakainen. In doing so, allowed Malloy just to drop these 2 places. It's going to be another twitch mid-corner. No, it's not from from Malloy. And maybe for the first time this race, as we're up onto lap 6, he's going to get it hooked up. He's going to be able to make a move, but look at what's happening behind him as Brewster in that 933 car comes up the inside, and we're going to see the change for the lead inspector. Or are we? Not deep enough on the brakes, but here comes Malloy to try and regain some places, and Penta kind of loses out big style. And all of a sudden, Matthew Malloy finds the pace, finds the grip, and he's looking incredibly strong, incredibly aggressive right now. Ronenberg has sailed off into the distance due to all this battling. Not able to get it done into Redmond. Well, I say that, and all of a sudden, Richard Coffey loses the rear under braking, and he is out of the lead in Spec 2. And down to 5th in class with Brewster, Ray, Walbolt, Laurie, Montgomery all passing him. Chris Montgomery, he's had a cracker so far, talking of him. He's at 10 places. 4 in class alone. Tom Laurie just ahead of him there. They've been working together, although they might be about to exchange places as pulling out. Dips back in. Mind games here from Chris Montgomery. Tucking back in behind Laurie once again. Let's take you first. We're now quarter race distance, 10 minutes out of the 40. Complete here from Okayama. Marnie leads from Green and Rice. That top 3 still nose to tail. It's Antonio, sorry, Forenza Arabian 4th, Ball, Murakami, Mayer, Ronenberg, Malloy and Pentakainen making up your top 10. Class leaders being Marnie in Masters and overall. Jason Green in Spec 1, 2nd overall, and Pentakainen. Well, I was about to say 10th overall, but now up to 9th as he's just made his way past Malloy, or has he? Off camera, down into, oh, and that's Ronenberg around, and everyone having to scatter left, right, and centre to avoid the spinning 017 car of Ronenberg. Oh, well, he was pulling away from that group and trying to catch and hunt down Simon Mayer, but in the end, pushing too hard. Loses the rear end there through hairpin. And all that hard work completely undone from Ronenberg, but back up to the front. What's happening? Well, they're as close as you like, and pretty much the sort of strat that you see within the Ford Spec Races Weekend Warrior Series. If the top guys just working together in these early stages, not battling, they don't, they want to try and get some fresh air between themselves and the following pack. Doing so, and just looking at their lap times as well last time around, I mean, these guys were, well, Antonio Rice set the fastest lap of the race, in fact, with 136.88, and they were around about 10th or so quicker than Forenza Arabian, and that's why that gap has opened up at the 12-minute mark now to 2.7 seconds back to Arabian. Just see him cresting the hill there in the background, that number 2 machine. He's got Ball, Murakami and Mayer all in tow, although they're starting to separate into 2 separate groups, and we can see any changes here. We can see Murakami having a bit of a lunge. No, we're not. Just likewise, Ball just electing to stay behind there. Arabian. Differing lines being displayed by our drivers. Arabian just trying to cover off whatever Ball throws at him, or might essentially be throwing at him. Use the throwing a ball related pun there. To the brakes, they come through through Redmond even. And then through Hobbs, a tricky part of the circuit here where it's just switching back so easy to lose the rear. Telling him the braking to Redmond, and you've got those elevation changes there too. It's advantage Arabian just putting some time between himself and Ball at this stage. Taking as much as that curve on the outside there as you absolutely dare. And well, there you go. Pit window is definitely open as Ray comes in from 12th and makes contact there with the inside wall where he's trying to cut it so finely. What in damage has he incurred, if any? That's the question. The drivers do have one fast repair to their name. Thomas Renders in from 23rd. So he has done well to make up quite a bit of time after starting from the pits. As there is Montgomery trying to make up even more places, and Richard Coffey after that spin trying to recover back through the field onto the back of Montgomery, and Laurie just ahead of them. And that's causing Montgomery to drop back and away from Laurie. Fastest lap last time around from Simon Mayer, 1:36.78. He's not hanging around whatsoever, is the German. He tries to get past Murakami and get up onto the back of Arabian and Ball ahead of them. As down through the field though, see Wallbank just heading up that group. Ronenberg behind him, of course, after that spin. He tumbled through the order from, he was around about 8th place overall, and there is Richard Coffey dispatching of Montgomery. Question is, how quickly can he get past Laurie? He needs to do it as soon as possible, because 3.5 seconds is the next group up the road, which at the trail end of that is Gary Waldbolt. Coffey having a bit of a look, just trying to get inside the mind of Laurie right now. Trying to move all around, fill his mirrors. A bit tricky with these small little Formula cars. So, well, there we go. That makes Coffey's life a lot easier as Laurie decides that it's time to head into the pits. Montgomery joining him as well, covering off that one. So they stop at the 15-minute mark. These early stages of this track, there was more like a country club, a golf club type membership originally. So that's Ronenberg up another place. That's past Wallbank. Wallbank looking to come back at him, looking for the switchback maybe on the exit of Williams, but you see just shifting his car around there. Ronenberg, he knows exactly what to do. And in doing so as well, just spooks, looks like Wallbank a little bit. It's going to allow Pinarino to come back alongside him. Onto into the brakes here. And that is Pinarino through. Wallbank losing 2 places and many corners is up in front. It's a change here between, well, it was initially between Ball and Arabian. I can see them, 2 names exchanging left, right, centre, up, down. Arabian has come out on top in this battle, and in the background there, Mayer. Well, that's a wide line. That's something a bit different. And Murakami has dropped a place down to 7th. Mayer ahead, desperate to try and catch up on the back of Arabian and Ball. You can see them scrapping. He knows there's an opportunity here, this is the German, to catch up onto the back of them. Try and close down some of that deficit, which will be made more and more easier when they start battling, although looking ahead at is the advantage to number 2 of Arabian, who has just eked out about 6/10 over Ball after that exchange. Still well down on our top group. You can see him just heading through Williams there as they come through another brilliantly named corners around here at Okayama. The first corner is its official name, turn 1. What could Arabian do now? He's opened up that gap. Now he's shrugged off Ball. Gonna need some quali style laps here. Well, despite battling actually with Ball last time around, he still sets a lap time that was only 2/10 slower than our leaders. So Arabian clearly has some pace up his sleeve. Something that he could definitely utilise, and if only friends, that they would start attacking ahead of you, because you start to ease into that gap by great big chunks. It'd be massive bites taking out of it. So munching his way through down that time deficit, but behind them, and well, Mayer, since getting past Murakami, unable to really make any impression on Arabian and Ball ahead of him. He kept still 1.9 seconds. Let's not forget, yeah, around about 5 or 6 minutes ago, these two were pretty much up there with Arabian and Ball, but have dropped back since the last few minutes, and definitely starting to tell. And see what Mayer decides to do. Currently sitting 4th in class, with Spec 1 being green, his 2nd overall, Arabian and Ball, 1st, 2nd and 3rd respectively. So Mayer, hoping to get into the podium in class, will have his work cut out here if he wants to achieve that. As there is our top 3. Still throw a blanket over them. Jason Green, fastest lap of the race. The times are starting to come down here, and in fact as well, the track temperature is coming down with them as well, as we're about 25 minutes to 2 o'clock here local time, so slightly cooler than what we experienced in qualifying. 101 Fahrenheit, that's 38 degrees Celsius. As we go deeper into this race, it will tumble down a few more degrees, which might just help those drivers, might inspire them to find a bit more grip. Let's try and get a move done. We're nearly at half race distance as well. Where have the last 18 minutes and 45 seconds gone? I'll tell you through the honestly a great action we've been experienced out on track. Top three. Still no to tell. I'll tell you one team race. Oh, something's happened to Matthew Malloy. He is off, and that's down the hairpin, and I would say that's someone who's outbraked himself. Let's find out with the replay. And he was all by himself. Pentakainen just in the foreground there, the 551. In desperate efforts to catch up with him. Well, I've not seen someone take to the escape rate there. They've normally, in our race, you just head through the gravel trap. It's not like real life where you run the risk of just getting stuck in it and beached. It's a little bit different there. Maybe electric units, a bit more grip off, carry too much speed in, can remain on the brakes. That's Pinarino just having a real scrap here with Eric Ronenberg, who's done well to close up onto him. Of course, let's not forget, Ronenberg early in this race was ahead, well, while up through the field, up in 8th, and that spin that really cost him, he sort of shrugged off the advances of everyone behind him. He was scrapping away. Andrew Love into the pits, here on lap 13. His spit stop. It was, in fact, you know, it could have been a really, really bumper day in terms of points and results here for Eric Ronenberg, but like it's not going to be unless something really dramatic happens here from Okayama. Let's take a look at the drivers that have pitted so far. Well, that's going to be looking like Andrew Love's going to be the highest of those. Currently 20th overall after his pit stop. Renders do. He is closing in. Actually, no. Renders is passed on the pit exit. So, all the drivers that have pitted, Renders leads that group. And looking like it's about transition time of in the region 48 seconds for these cars, including stopping and taking on some fuel. So, where will that mean he will come after the round of pit stops? Well, I think definitely he's got to be looking to jump Hansen and Rek, who are 3 places ahead of him, respectively. Maybe even getting amongst Bradshaw and Wallbank, potentially. Especially if those two start battling. That's going to be fascinating to see. And we're going to start seeing more and more pit stops here. And just be interested to see how many of his drivers decide to elect to run it in really deep here. Talking of running in deep, there is Wallbolt into the pit. Not making the connection with the wall like we saw Ray do earlier. He was the first driver to pit, and there's Wallbolt in. When will he come out? We're seeing a lovely little battle here right now. Bradshaw, Wallbank, and Cantor is through down into turn 1 on the brakes. Job done. Jeff Cantor up into 15th place, but Wallbank not making his life easy, looking for the switchback, just trying to maneuver Cantor around. He's the American who's got it done in the 944 machine. He is up into 15th place. From the American there. No messing whatsoever. So, Wallbot is on pit exit. Will Renders get ahead of him? Yes, he does. That's another car dispatched with. So, started last, coming out the pits in 29th. He's now up into 19th. Still 12 places down from where he qualified. For Renders as Bradshaw onto the brakes. And I tell you what, Cantor invigorated by that move on Wallbank. In the second sector, looks to get past Bradshaw. Won't get it done there into Revolver. And has to back out. So tricky to try and get the switch back there with, of course, that double left-handed. It's Revolver and Piper. So there's a bit of a chance here into Redmond, but not close enough this time around for you, Jeff Cantor. Gonna have to think twice about it as Bradshaw just covering it off. Got it covered, but well, there we go into the pits. So Malloy is in. He's had an eventful race. Also in as well was Bradshaw. This is quality time now, pretty much for Cantor. Needs to set some good pace to clear Bradshaw in the round of pit stops. Maybe he wants to clear Malloy as well. Simon Moore. We're into Arabian ahead of us. He's closing, and I'll tell you what, Arabian by his car positioning on the inside there. feeling like he needs to defend, and the mind games from Ball. You had that just lifting out of the throttle. Moving across onto the racing line there, that just gave Arabian the time that he needed to readjust his car, get across onto the racing line too. Different lines there, skating across the curve from Arabian and drifting through Revolver, through Piper. As into the pits as well, Camillo is in. To the brakes though, go these two. It seems right now that Arabian is just struggling. His car looks a lot looser compared to Ball. He's all the more tighter. What does Ball like to do? No, he likes to stay out. It'd be wise for Ball to just dip into the pits. He does run the risk though of coming in and out amongst that midfield battle. As top three you see in the foreground there, they're still all over one another. Murakami and Mayer, you can see in the background there, Mayer is just starting to extend that gap out, but not able to make any impression whatsoever on Arabian and Ball ahead of them. There's Coffee into the pits now. In from 12. He was battling Warbot, wasn't he, for the pit stop, so just to see where he comes out in amongst. To see this battle for second place. There's Thomas Renders. He's been climbing places left, right and centre. Since everyone has been pitting, going for the long strat here. Didn't make the grid. Started from the pits. Started dead last because of it. And well off the back of the field. Picks up some places due to that incident into Williams on the opening lap. But even so, has been grinding this one out. Held fastest lap of the race earlier on, and Rich Coffey is going to lose out here to Thomas Renders, who I think we're just going to see. There we go, on the right of your screen, come flying by. That's another place for Renders. And how much higher can the Dutchman climb? That's up into 14th for him. Next on the list, drivers that have stopped. Well, Renders is actually the highest. Oh, something's happened to Antonio Rice. He is out. And falling through the order like a stone. He's crashed, hasn't he? And, well, a big moment in the change for the lead. Well, actually, I think it's got to be a disconnect, isn't it? Because he's not showing up in my timing software, and our producer Smooley as well, actually spotting that. So this is either one massive blink or he is fully disconnected. Appearing in sim as fully disconnected yet, so some worrying times for the driver who's driving incredibly strongly, sitting in third behind Marnie and Breen. I think that could well be Antonio Rice. Yes, connection dropped due to upload packet loss. He's out. Oh, and absolutely gutting for the Portuguese driver. Looks on for his great result now. This changes the dynamic quite a bit. Green does not have to worry about Antonio Rice behind him. What is he going to do against Marnie? He was, well, extending that gap out a little bit. But 3 tenths quicker last time around. The gap out to 8 tenths. Sorry, yeah, it was 8 tenths. Maybe about 9 tenths. Marnie can see what's happened. And he's pushing hard here. Also promotes Ferenz Arabian up onto the podium position. So Ball has dropped further back. And Ball, man, might be ruining that a bit now because he has a chance to make it onto the podium overall. He's third in class, but would have loved to have stood on that podium in overall positions. Also might be gutting for Mayer as well too, because let's not forget he was up onto the back of Arabian and Ball. They've got the 330 in between Arabian and Ball, which is George Camillo, the Brazilian, and a little bit of luck up from said Brazilian there into turn one. And fighting back here, interesting tactics. Although the 76 there off Mayer has got it completely and utterly covered. He's through, he's clear. Now, to get after Ferenz Arabian, who's opened up that gap even further. 1.75 seconds the difference between those two. I wonder it's 2.18 even. So you can see everyone just coming through. That is Marnie and Jason Green. Jeff Cantor into the pits now. where will Renders was quite a bit behind him, so whether Renders can jump Canter, well, I think there is your answer. Canter is on pit exit though. He has got up and running, but I tell you what, Renders is ahead. He's got that one easy. There's another place crossed off. Dutchman now up into 12th, and this looked down and out. This looked worth. Do you know what? I'm not even going to bother whatsoever. But he's dug deep. He's kept going. He's pushed and pushed. And sometimes when you have a race like this, you have nothing to lose. So you end up driving some of the best driving, you've ever had in life. As our leader is in. Green stays out. He carries around again for another tour of Akiyama. Onto the pit limiter. Here's Yokomani. Where will he come out? The worry is for him. Will he come out into the midfield? Because nobody else has really come with him. Everyone else has carried on again. Except for Pensacani, so your leader from Spec 2 is in, so leader overall and in Masters Marnie, and Pensacani, your leader in Spec 2 is in from 7th place. Roosters kept going. There's Pensacani. So, where will they come out? Well, they're going to be into the bit of a gap, I think. It could work out for Marnie this. Yes, it does indeed. So, comes out into some fresh air. Now, Green is going to be able to lap quicker due to having a much lighter car, but how hard does he dare push it? Because that track temperature has crept up by about 3 degrees to 41 from 38. I can tell you, this is Celsius, so that's about, what, some 104 now, as that's Hansen around, 105 in fact. And you can tell the temperature's just hot up here. As Hansen around, Marnie heads through. That's one car he does not have to worry about. The Scandi, well, not what he would have hoped for whatsoever. As Pensacani has come out in front of Renders, but that gap down to only 3 seconds between the two. How much more time can Renders eat out of them? It's going to be fascinating to watch this one, how it plays out. So there we go. Green's in, Arabian's in, Bull's in. Does Mayer follow in suit? No, he's kept going again. Murakami in. Brewster Pinnerin out. Roneberg and Hansen, the only other drivers yet to stop. Mayer now takes the lead of this race. Now, where is Jorg Marnie? That's the big question. Has he done enough on his outlap to jump Arabian? Here he is. So he's coming around the last corner now. Green's on pit exit. I tell you what, this is going to be close, and I think Green may have even got the jump. Yes, he has. The undercut has worked. An absolute treat. And despite Marnie coming through at full steam, that is one big gap. 4.5 seconds. These two came in with, what, some 5 seconds. Jorg Marnie being ahead of Green. And, well, I can tell you, he's lost it all pretty much in the pit stops. Plus a great in-lap from Green. As Marnie was stopped around about 4.5 seconds, if my calculations are correct. 4.6 seconds, in fact, longer, but even so, that gap as well. It's actually 4.3 now, so Marnie coming along at pace. He's got his car up to temperature. He's got his bit between his teeth. He understands how the car handles. A bit better than Green does at this stage, where he's had that extra lap under his hat. And Arabian not able to make really any impression on these guys, still 2.7 seconds down the road. Our leader is in, Mayer is in, so the last car to stop heads in, and great fuel conserving there. Conservation. Got there in the end of the word. Found it eventually. To run all the way into nearly the 33-minute mark here for the German. See Kaj Hansen just heading out of the pits there, the 29 in the foreground. So, Mayer, has he managed to make any improvement whatsoever? Here comes Green, so he's going to take the lead. And Mayer still stationary, so I don't think he's going to really have made any much time difference on Marnie. It's whether he can come out in front of Ball, and yes, he has, but has Ball managed to shrink the gap? No, he hasn't, so Ball's got the jump on him. Just waiting for everything to update here. So the gap has shrunk a little bit, saying that. And that is largely thanks to the 2 seconds less time than Mayer was stationary in comparison to Ball. That got down to 2 seconds. Can Mayer get himself onto the podium in class in these closing stages here from Okayama? As further down the field, there's a battle going on, and it's Richard Coffey. This is Gary Walbot and Andrew Love. And Coffey takes control, but that leaves Walbot and Love to scrap it out, although they all suck in together. That's Coffey up a place ahead of Walbot. That all over what is 12th right now, but crucially 2nd and 3rd in Spec 2 between those two drivers. Good stuff to see between those guys. Still battles aplenty. Up and down through the field. This could be Love, though, up the inside on Walbot. And is he going to lose 2 places in 2 sectors? Well, that looks like it's going to be a move done. Lovely little move from the American Love up the inside there to get ahead of Walbot when it's not what he wants, when he can see that the car in front of him is another step higher up the podium in your class. I'll tell you what, choose that overtake. Love pulled as well. It's just opened up a bit of breathing space for Coffey. 6 tenths, make that 7 tenths in back now. Between the 2 Americans, Coffey and Love. Actually, it was a triple American train here. Reigning from the USA are these drivers. As that is Malloy into the pits again. It's not been the best of days for Matthew Malloy, and I do wonder, is that an incident limit drive through? He's keeping very far to the left-hand side, so something says to me that Matthew Malloy has hit the incident limit. Yes, he has. He's serving his drive through, and this has been a bit of a round to forget for him. Out running once again, but it brings him out, what, all the way down in 19th place, just behind Tom Lorry. It's down 9 from where he started now. It's inside the top 10. Well, that spin early on really hurt him, and then just since then, I'm guessing just struggling maybe with the tyres a little bit. He looks incredibly loose through Atworth Curve, which he's about to head up to now. As well, ding ding, they're at it again. And Laurie round the outside, so Coffey round the outside here, and can't defend, or can he? Down into Revolver, down into Piper, and I tell you what, right round the outside, carrying the momentum, carrying the speed, comes Love. And here comes Warbolt trying to seize and capitalise on this opportunity of the slow Coffey, who still has a go, still trying to send it in deep against Love, who still keeps his nose in there. They're still side by side as we round Hobbs. We head into Mike Knight, and they're still going to be next to each other. Warbolt just trying to stick his nose in, trying to follow Love through, but eventually Love takes control of 12th place and takes control of this battle. And this one's going to go to the wire, isn't it? It's coming up 37 minutes. Looking at the lap times. They've got this lap they've just started, lap 23, and I think they're going to take the white flag next time around. Although, to be fair, Green is quite a fair way around him. He's, well, around about half a lap ahead of these guys as our leader. So, we could go, in fact, another 3 laps potentially. We'll be close. That's the beauty of these time races, and then equally, who's got enough fuel on board as Coffey looking for the late switchback. But just leave that inside line open a little bit for Walpole just behind him. He was unable to capitalise, but here we go. Speed building in the draft, momentum building for Coffey. Has he done enough against Love? Looks like he's closing, but is it enough? He's going to have to do the hard work right around the outside, onto the brakes, and he sends it. And will he get it done as he swoops down to shut the door fully in Love's face? And Coffey absolutely brought that move to perfection there to get himself back up to 12, and a car between himself and Walball in that fight for 2nd and 3rd in Spec 2 right now. Love just not close enough to make it side by side through this section once again, like we saw them for what, 5-6 corners in a row last time around. This time it's a different story. Disadvantage Coffey. Will it last? Is looking at the clock now. Tell you what, yeah, they're not going to take the white flag, are they? Let's have a little look, see what Barney's doing across the start-finish line as we move away to Jason Green ahead of him. 2.5 seconds advantage over Marnie. Let's see, here we go. Andrew Love back in front again. And this is an epic battle. And it's all over. 12th place, it's advantage Love. And Walbot has no answer for these two. Looking to sit behind to pick up the scraps from any incident, but these two are driving absolutely cleanly, impeccably, giving each other space, but racing hard still at the same time. But what has Coffee got up his sleeve? He was in this position last time around. He managed to get that great move around, right around the outside to dive down and shut the door. Fully in Love's face, he goes for it again, but Love is going to be wise to that. He knows what happened. He sent it in deeper onto the brakes and gets his car slowed up on the apex, and that's going to kill off the momentum from Coffee, or does it? There's that wider line there from Love. He's, oh, they're as close as you like. They almost make contact as they headed through Piper. Can there be a lunge through Redmond? No, it's not. And that slightly shallower line there from Coffee, starting to open up the corners, looking for those late apexes, looking for those runs. To no avail. It's just trying to build that speed, trying to build that momentum, trying to threaten Love. In these closing stages, white flags out. 1 lap left remaining here. And it's not a battle up front. It's not a battle for the lead. It's all about this battle for 12th place that is keeping us on the edge of our seats, that's keeping us enthralled here from Okayama. This is all or nothing now for Walbot. He needs to do something to gain a place over these two. Surely can't sit back and wait and hope and pray that both Love and Coffee get into one another, but I tell you what, they're scrambling all over one another. And the wide line invoked here. Love tight to the inside, just looking to slow up on the apex to kill off that momentum from Coffee, who just elects to move out that little bit wider to carry that speed, to carry that momentum, and not have it killed off from Love. And he's as close as he's ever been to the back of him. He pulls out to drivers left of Love. Will Love be late onto the brakes and cover this one off? Here comes Coffee down from the outside to take control. To get up into 12th, well, they've already finished. Green's first, Marnie second, Arabian third. For your podium overall, Ball picks up that last podium place in Spec 1. And Takainen's going to pick up the victory in Spec 2 and might even sneak his way past Eric Roneberg in a race to the line here to head through Mike Knight and into the last corner. Who's going to get the best run? I think it's going to be Roneberg. But even so, Lasse Pentakainen, great drive from the Spec 2 driver, 9th overall, winning in class. Back to these guys. Well, Coffee has got it, or has he? Because Love's just taking that shallow line. He's going to run wide. Coffee, no, he's not. Can Walbot snatch something from Love at the line? It's going to go all the way down to the wire, and Love knows it as he moves across the track there to cover it off. And Walbot's got him. Walbot gets Love at the line. What a cracking finish there. All over 12th place. I tell you what, it's moments like this why we come sim racing. You see great battles like that. It doesn't matter what position it's in, and at times it feels like a victory. And although having said that, Matthew Malloy, he's not had the best of days, and I think he'll be really looking forward to moving on and getting Okayama out of the way. And of course, as mentioned earlier, Tsukuba is where we visit next time out. So that short trip across Japan. Poor, deep breath. Just waiting for the last of the drivers to come across line. We'll get some classified results in, and then we'll speak to some of our drivers here today from Okayama in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors, presented by Ray Esports. Jason Green takes the victory overall, and in Spec 1, Yugmani, that victory in Spec 2, gutting Antonio Rice. Of course, that disconnection, that would have been a much more enthralling battle if that hadn't happened to him. Frenz Arabian picks up the last podium place overall, finishes second in class, with third in class, fourth overall being Simon Ball. As Ooh, we're running pretty close to time, so I'm going to have to rattle through these quickly. Chris Murakami, 6th, 2nd in Masters. Pinarino, Renneberg, Pentacon taking the win in Spec 2. 9th overall, Thomas Renders. What a recovery drive from him. Started from the pits, looked down and out, and in the end, comes home inside the top 10. Jim Brewster rounds out your podium in Masters. Coffee, 12th. Walbot, 3rd. So 13th. 14th for Love. That's Ray, Cantor, Walbot, Laurie, Montgomery, Malloy in the end. Top 20 for him is all the best he could do. Bradshaw, Jacobson, Camillo, and Hansen. Last drivers finished on the lead lap. Rec was 1 lap down. Montevini, 3 laps down and into the retirements. Obviously, race we lost on lap 15 out of lap 25 due to that disconnect. Kramer, lap 6, and Alan de Glacius, we lost in, well, the lap 2. And, well, that is sadly all we've got time for here today from Akiyama, due to us running over and running close to the time of this amount of laps in the 40-minute race. Thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations to Green, Marnie, and Pentakainen on their victories in classes, and of course, Green overall. Thanks very much for joining us. I've been Tim Cox with Samula Kuma, and we will see you in a week's time when the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors, presented by Ray Esports, heads to Tsukuba. We'll see you then.